Hello, Moral, and welcome to Oral Gibbs Live. With me, I have a very special guest. Every year she's with me. You want to know the person? Well, she's none other than Miss Maria Chemont. How you doing, Miss Chemont?
Good greetings, Mr. Gibbs. I'm doing well, thank you.
It's so great to have you in the program, and those colors just pop out what you have there.
You know I'm a colorful lady.
Yeah.
I love my colors.
It's really nice.
It brings out the beauty and the brightness of the spirit.
So how things going with you?
Not complaining at all. I'm alive and kicking, doing what I can, and the best that I can, you know.
That's good. These are difficult times, and sometimes we dwell on all the bad and negative and forget there's a lot of good things in life too.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't avoid really thinking or seeing the negative.
Yeah.
However, we have to leave our positive spirit overrule the negative energy that might surround us. So I do that. I fight back.
Yeah. It's like tomorrow will always be better, right?
That's right. There's always hope in tomorrow.
Yeah. So what you been doing lately? Because I know you're active lately, always on the move.
I'm busy doing a lot of things. I'm busy with Hearts United Holistic Care Foundation.
How's that going?
That's going very well. We just started the hospitality class, for which I am the mentor there in the class. So for the next few months, the program is running for a year.
Oh, okay.
However, my mentorship goes for like 3-4 months, and encourage our students, because it's about a second chance. These are second chance students. So, you give people the opportunity to rebuild their lives for a second time.
It's good.
Yes.
And what else are you doing besides that?
Besides that, yes, I visit my seniors at home and kind of take care of some of them. Groom them, clip their nails, and, fix them up a little bit. Let them know that somebody cares.
Yeah, that's nice,
Yes.
We've gotten so busy in St. Martin, just trying to survive and make $1. We forget about everything in a way sometimes.
You're going to forget about some things, but please don't forget about yourself. If you start to forget about yourself, then you are in trouble.
I think what I meant is that, growing up in St. Martin, it was like we all cared about each other. We looked out for each other. We were always there. That's not the case today.
Well, it's a different time, a different generation we are talking here. So things are different. The way we were long time ago as we grew up as children, and our parents and grandparents, because I was raised with a grandparent and an older aunt. Our thoughts were different. Their thoughts were different. They taught us different things in life, that is missing now in this generation. People are not taking the time out to really talk to the children, talk to the youths, and encourage them, give them their time. It doesn't happen anymore because everybody's busy with 2-3 jobs. Some of them, they can't do no better, because I was part of that as well. However, I do believe that it is so vital and it's of great importance to really share with the children, talk to them, because I believe that that's why they are so aggressive. And of late, you've seen the school fights again. It's really sad. But the parents in the home really have to take a grip on these children. Talk to them, talk to the children. Take some time out. Let us take some time out for the children.
I've had you many times over the years here on the program, and you've spoken about a lot of things, about the elderly, problems, etc. Over the years, what has impacted you most on St. Martin?
Actually, the youths.
Really?
Why? The neighborhood that I live in, it's crowded with youths, of course. And when you see the behavior of the children, in particular on these motor scooters, and the way they behave, and the children on the corner, and they're smoking the weed, when there's no respect. These things have an impact on the lives of seniors. I, as a senior, that knew that at the time when I was growing up, things were different, but now you look at how the children are actually destroying themselves. That has an impact on me. Why? Because as I grow older, it's like, who's going to care for me? Because I am busy up until now caring for seniors, but as I grow older, I advance in age,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have the same energy, because you're going to be decreasing in your
Right.
energy and in your mobility and a lot of things. We pray that we will stay healthy, and be able to move around and do things for ourselves. But we know also that common sense will tell us that may not be the case for all of us. So who will care for me if we have the youth, not caring for themselves, and the neglect of our youngsters by their parents also? The generation, what's going to happen to us as we really grow older? So I have a issue with those type of things, and I believe that motivates me to really go out there and, with the Second Chance program that we have, get involved in terms of mentoring the younger adults. When we look back, these children came from basically teenage mothers. So when a teenager has a child, they don't know how to raise a child. They really don't know what to say to the children. So therefore, these children, they grew up any kind of how, lack of morals and values, behavioral problems. Because this is what it is, behavioral problems. And at times we are at loss as even what to say and to them, because it is that the children are so aggressive at times. But then again, you have to, for yourself and approaching them, you have to have an understanding as, how do I approach this child with this type of behavior?
You got to be very careful.
You got to be very careful. It's like you're walking on cotton, And I have proven it, even in the mentorship classes that I assist with, how you have parents, these are parents, young parents. And the aggressiveness of these young adults also, you wonder how can they raise their children.
But they also, it goes back to what you said earlier in terms of we don't have the time anymore. I'll tell you why, and I think I told you about this years ago. There was a big fight between two youngsters, and police got involved, nothing was fixed, and I asked to meet the two mothers. I brought both of them to meet each other at the station. When they were walking, they were shocked. You know why they were shocked? They knew each other.
Wow.
They knew each other, but they didn't know that their children, they were the mothers of those two children.
That were clashing.
Exactly. And I sat there and spoke with them. The problem was solved. Never happened again. Because they got to know each other and realized, hey, but we knew each other. We went to school together. Those are our children. We need to stay in touch more sometimes.
With the youngsters. Yeah. We need to stay in touch with the youngsters. We need to speak a lot. Never get weary of speaking to the children. They may not understand it today, but along the way, they're gonna understand what you meant. Sometimes, like as you just mentioned, Mr. Gibbs, those parents knew each other, but you also have those that are fighting with each other and they are relatives and they don't know.
That's worse.
They're blood related and they don't know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when they find out, then you'll have the same situation, problem solved.
Yeah.
Because then, hey, this is my relative, this is my cousin I'm fighting with. So it is good for us as parents and grandparents to just continue to really speak to the children. But it's the way of approach also. You don't approach your children aggressively.
But I had Mr. Wyatt here in the program, and he spoke about himself. He's involved in agriculture, etc. And he said that growing up, he wanted the things that he couldn't have, and got involved with the wrong group, and he entered a life of crime. But he turned his life around.
I heard the interview with you. Yes.
He turned his life around. And that's such a beautiful story.
Yes. And again, sometimes it takes the prison to really mold them and turn their lives around.
What touched me there, sorry to interrupt, when he said he went in prison, and the only person that looked out for him was his grandmother. All his friends
neglected him. They don't have no time for you.
I never thought of that one.
They had no time for him. So thank God for grandmothers like that. She never gave up on him. And she also prayed for him. And the power of prayer changed his life. You know, you have to believe.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of it, because when I listened to his interview, I was actually emotional, because you see that how children, what can cause their demise is rejection. And when they are rejected, they feel at a given moment that they are lost and there's nobody who loves and cares for them, and they don't care what they do. However, when he went there and his grandmother came to visit, he realized somebody cares. Somebody cares. So if it's even one of us in this community, this society, that would reach out to at least one youth and show the youth that you really cares, it makes a difference in that child's life. And when that child feels that difference, you are busy helping also a village. One child, via one child, one youth.
I know a lot of people sometimes are afraid to speak with them. The other day I was at a place and a youngster pulled up on a motorbike, you know. And I started to speak with him about the bike. He was shocked. And we talk about the type of bike, how much a bike like that go for, you know, what types, different types. And I was surprised because the kid was such a nice kid. But if you look at him and then speak with him, you think he was the worst person on earth. But by speaking with him, we discovered so many different things and that he was a great kid.
And that's why conversing with the youths is very important. Yeah. We cannot judge the youth by how they look at times. It's just like a book. You cannot judge the cover. You have to open the book and start to read its contents. Then you can connect with what's going on and say, oh, looking at a cover, you know, it was not impressive. It didn't speak volumes, but when you open it, you get to the volumes. This is how it goes with our youths. We have to connect to them, speak. Say something, like what you did, they approach the bike. Because he so wanted to talk about the bike. But
nobody ever spoke to him.
Nobody never spoke, not even, he probably, no father, you know, physical.
Yeah.
So he was glad that here comes a man that is now speaking to me about my bike, and he could have interact with you. Very important. Interaction, communication. It makes a difference. It changed the mindset. It swings one time. So it all depends on how, again, we approach and what the topic is. You know, you don't jump in and say, hey, are you riding these bikes? Blah, blah, blah. The negative. No. Hey, as you approach them, what's the bike? Good bike. Hey, how is the bike moving? What's the price? Etc. You form a positive conversation. And he could have interacted with you because he so wanted to speak about his bike. Very good approach.
Exactly. And what surprised me most was how expensive those bikes are.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
But you're on the ground. You know, you see so many things. You know, I remember one time I had you on the show many years ago, and you spoke about something that you saw on the beach in Molebedo. You remember that?
Kopokoi.
Right. Well, boy, since that time, it's gotten worse.
Yes, it only can get worse. Because the more the eyes long for vanity and material things, is the more you're going to get into the habit of doing what you shouldn't do to get those things.
Oh, okay.
So our youths, again, need to be educated. And like I always say, we have community centers in the districts, different districts. We need to get out there and hold awareness programs and evening programs to educate not only the youths, but the parents. We need to encourage them to come out, because the same way they go out to political rallies and meetings, we need to also keep in educational sessions to educate our young parents, mothers and fathers, that they are able to educate their children. So it's about encouraging, you know, what can we do? You can keep an event, and because people they like to eat, they like snacks, they like drinks, and so you keep an event and you invite them out, and at the same time, as you embrace them, you educate them that they're able to see the good in themselves. Because to get to the youth, and in educating the parents, we have to first teach and discuss the worth of that person as a human being. your values. You as a person, how do you see yourself? What is your worth? And in particular, our ladies, what is your worth as a woman?
Yeah.
You know, because if you don't have that worth as a woman, how can you teach the little offspring what you don't know and what you don't have for yourself? You can't give to that child. And this is what the problem is. So it continue spreading. If the tree and the root of the tree is not firmly grounded, the branches are going to, by every wind that blow, a branch will be breaking off. The tree becomes weak. So we have to be rooted and grounded in what we believe. And number one is our faith. Because we cannot exist without strong faith. Faith is what keeps us together. I'm sitting here. Had it not have been for my strong faith in God, I would not be sitting. I would not have become the woman that I am at this time. And therefore, I love to share. So, and that's why in the mentorship program, I teaches especially our women, and we have some men in the classes also, your worth, your self-esteem, you know, and because it is very important for your existence, and in particular as raising children. You want those children to become somebody. We don't want our children to be continuously falling in a hole, going through the cracks. No, but we have to lead the way.
Well, in case you've just joined us, I'm Oral Gibbs Live, and my guest is Maria Chemont. Ms. Chemont is a retired registered nurse. I can safely say you also like a community advocate. You're always out there advocating for the community, the elderly, the poor, the young, and she's a great person. We're here on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook and YouTube, and Hot 99.9 FM radio. This program is aired at different times during the day and the night, and it's always a pleasure having Ms. Chemont here with us. You know, when you look at the island today, and you look at all the issues, you mentioned school fighting is coming back, social media, people are sharing that. It's like encouraging it in a way.
Yes, when they do that, it's really, those are things, when I get something like that, I don't share that. I delete. Because for me, it is nothing for me to be happy and be proud of seeing our youngsters knocking each other on the ground, and the words that are coming from their mouth, the foul language that goes along with it, and no respect for older person who is busy trying to break up the fight. I don't like that. You know, it's against all morals, you know, and they're stripping each other on the road, tearing off the clothes, and that's really a sad thing. So I want to reach out to the parents and say, you know, let us speak to our children to prevent this kind of a thing from happening. It can't continue. It shouldn't be. It is really heartbroken to know parents may be out there working so hard to send the children to school. You're buying the uniform, putting on the children, and you know, they're ripping them apart and the fights, and no.
But you know,
it just shouldn't be.
What I notice is that, and this happens in many societies where poverty is a key factor. If you have a rapid increase in poverty like we have in St. Martin, and you don't have any support, and there are no different areas for our young people to take part in activities, etc., you end up with a lot of social problems.
There are good activities, but again, it requires time from the parents. And when I say that, I can mention, for instance, Scouting Antiliana. I can mention the Boys and Girls Brigade. And I find that these are very important organizations that can help the parents to also mold their children. So as I sit here, I would encourage parents to get their children involved in the scouting and in the brigade, because growing up, we had a lot of that. We had a brigade, we had scouting, we had the Antillians Girls Guide. I was a part of that as a child, 9, 10 years old, back in the day. And we didn't have all the riches and the glamour that they have right now. And But my grandmother found it important that I should be part of the Girls' Guide. And I loved it, and we were taught discipline. So you would never find that we were out there carrying on, not that we weren't rude. Children must have children time. Otherwise, you can't, once you are forced too quick into adulthood, you lost that. You don't have anything to talk about childhood. So you must have children time. We are not going to be perfect, so we misbehave too.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes we act as if we were holier than thou, and
that's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I had my children time, and don't think that we never had fights. We had fight on the bus, but it was not the way that they are really doing it now. And they're using weapons and stuff like that. We rap on each other. If you had hair, you had much. But, you find that you hit a box and a slap, and then I was a big coward. I would run. You hit me, I hit you back, but I run in. I ain't stand up. I gone. And I could have run, I take off like a jet. I never really liked to fight. I was a big coward when it come to that. And but I don't try to sit and make a believe, hey, long time ago there were saints walking around and angels with wings on their back as children. That's not true.
We were the society of saints.
Listen, you're going Sunday school and you're going to church and all of those, but that did not make you a saint. And definitely we had fights. Because I remember very well I went to St. Joseph School, and I can remember very well the fights in the alley, with children fighting, and even parents would come, some from down as far over the water and over the bank, and they clashing, and because don't hit my child, a big thing, But the following day, those same children were friends again.
Yeah. And that's
nothing happened.
And that's why my mother always said, don't get between them.
Don't get between the children like that. But now I don't know. This generation taking it very serious. So they are more violent, actually, and they carry it on as animosity.
Yeah.
That is the difference. But back then we fight, and the next day we good.
But let me ask you, when you go out and you talk, what people talk to you about?
Well, I deal a lot with the seniors, and like I said, the class now that we started, I realized that our people need to vent. They have to be able to let it out. A lot of people has a lot of stuff that they're going through, challenges, and it's bottled up in them. And what you get is a frustrated people. So sometimes we might go to the shop, we might go to a office, and we going to meet the receptionist, or we going to go to a restaurant, and you have to deal with the waitress and the waiter, and at times, in particular the waitresses, they might be frustrated, and you want to understand what is the problem. But in dealing with what I'm dealing with now in the mentorship, I've come to realize because of the home situation and what the individual is going through as a person in a home with different challenges, is why they would be on a job. They take it with them to work.
It's human too,
Yes, they take it with them. So what needs to be done? There should be a class or an organization where they can come and really let it out, talk, discuss. So a social office.
Yeah, people don't want to do that because everybody knows my problem. No, I don't want to talk about that.
What they have to do, just don't look at that picture. Look at the fact is that somebody's listening to
you.
you.
And you discover that other people have your problem too, just like you.
There you go. Because when you get in a group setting now, you'll realize, as you just mentioned, Mr. Gibbs, there are other people with the same problem. So let's talk about it. And when you talk about it, tears flow. People become so emotional and they cry and they let it out. You get a breakdown. And at the end of the session, actually, they are relieved. They are relieved and they feel much better. And then you get a better person. So the following day, or days to come when they show up at the job, they are so light that they will treat you with a big smile differently than the first approach. And this is what we are experiencing. It's because in the home, it's domestic violence, it's issues with the children, it is not enough money. Financial problems is the biggest thing within the home because not enough money to really take care of the children. And if you get situations where a mother with 3 or 4 children as a single mother, and you're wondering where the next dollar is going to be coming from to feed those children. It's stressful.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
So when when others are enjoying life and you have to serve them because they are enjoying, they have it good, they can come to the restaurant and they can eat, they can be in a hotel, when you can't do it, and here am I have to serve them, it's like the question, what happened to me? Why it can't be like this?
You know, that never crossed my mind now that you're saying that. It makes a lot of sense, huh? I never thought about that.
Yes, because we are busy. And over the years, you know, I studied in my community certain things. And the work that we would do, the barbecues and everybody coming and enjoying the barbecue, the chicken, the fried Johnny cakes and all of these things, while the person that is doing this are busy working so hard. When you finish, and I used to wonder in my head, when they finish around the hot grill with all of this barbecue, you cannot go in a late hour in the night under a cold shower.
No.
You will catch a cold. So guess what? You have to go to bed smelling of chicken, ribs, and fish.
And that's not comfortable at all.
And it is not comfortable. So, the person that you serve that had the nice plate of ribs and chicken and Johnny cake and what have you, they feel good. They can take a nice shower. They can lay down in a nice bed, comfortable. Think about these things. You who did all of this to the pleasure of that person, you didn't have no pleasure because you couldn't even bathe properly. You couldn't be comfortable. You're tired. The next day you have to get up, repeat the same story again. But they have enjoyed and they are comfortable and they're looking now to come back maybe the next day or a few days after that for the same nice plate of barbecue, etc. We look at these things.
Another thing too is you see a lot of people have a nice car and you can't have a nice car, and it could be hurtful at times. It's because they make you feel bad if you have a nice car like that.
If you focus on that, you will feel bad for sure. You know, because we are human beings, and we all actually want the best that life have to offer. Some of us, it comes easier than the other. Some people have lived and died, and they never was able to take a vacation, not even to go as far as Penelky. All they did was work tirelessly until they die.
So they didn't even know what a vacation was.
They heard the name, but they never experienced a vacation where they could have gone even to Penelky on a little boat, come off and be on the beach under a tree, spread a towel, have some food, enjoy that and say, it was a wonderful day off, this was a vacation. Many people have not experienced that. So for us who can and have the opportunity to really experience something like that, we need to be grateful to God. Yeah. Really grateful to God. And growing up in poverty, I never expected that I never even give it a thought, because I can remember when I used to work at Caribbean Palm back in the early 70s. In those days, we had the 2 cruise ships that were coming. They were smaller, but a lot of tourists. And we used to see them in wheelchairs, a lot of wheelchairs, a lot of elder guests. And we thought, okay, that's an old person in a wheelchair. Why they here? They should stay home. That is how, as a young person in my 20s, in 1920, that was my thought. However, as we grow old and we experience life and we're learning to appreciate, I now understand a couple of years now though, that, hey, these people work hard, and even though they end up wheelchair bound, life ain't finished. Whatever is left of their life, they are determined to enjoy. So at what cost it is, and that's where the credit cards come in, and we thought that these people are very rich, but they were living on credit cards. So you go on vacation, you pay for it after. And now we too are also experiencing in modern day time. So the generation, you see how it changed, everything has changed and evolved around us, that we come to the understanding that, hey, this is life.
You know, someone was telling me the other day, this is hard for me to believe, but I'm going to tell you that people have credit card and they think they don't have to pay after they use it. I just can't imagine that one.
It says credit.
You ever heard that thing with people?
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, but you said that, but then again too, there's a little truth in it. You know what I tell you? I remember one time someone told me, people come to them, and they don't know where they want to go for a vacation, but they want to go on a vacation. Now, I couldn't imagine someone showing up at a travel agency. I want to go on a vacation, but I don't know where I want to go, because I always know where I want to go if I want to go on a vacation. Later on, I found out that's really true.
Yes, it is.
So maybe some people get a credit card, I said maybe, and they don't really realize, hey, they just spend crazy and then max out, and it's like, well, forget about it. You know, it's possible.
Yeah. And again, for instance, if I want to go on a vacation, I can reach out to a travel agency and not knowing for sure where I want to go, because there's a lot of destinations. And that's the job now of the travel agent, to say, hey, I have this available at this price, you know, this island, this country, this place, this hotel, the whole works. They're now selling you. And whichever one sounds the best and looks attractive.
But I don't let that one though, because I tell you why travelers, you have to be careful. I don't go to travel, never used to. But if you assume I'm like all the other people who come by you, then you have a problem with me. You see, because I don't want you to tell me, suggest that to me. You see, because I'm the person who know already where
you
I'm
already
going.
know.
So it's something you can't assume. And that happened with me in something else, where the person assumed that, okay, I didn't know what I wanted. And I would tell you, this was an architect. I said, no, I know what I want. Okay, so, oh yeah, but people come in here and I said, no, I know what I want. So I'm going to tell you what I want. And if you can't do it, then we're not going to have it. You're not going to get the job. See, so sometimes
it's different.
It
depends. Different. So, in a moment like this, the travel agent is actually dealing with different people.
Yeah. So you can't assume.
So you cannot.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah. Exactly. But it was just to say that, you know, as you mentioned, the person didn't know where they were going, so that's why I said that.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They wanted to go on vacation, but they didn't know what they wanted to do. So that is where the help of the agency. So I just use that as a reference.
And that's why I said, I told you that this was told to me years ago by a travel agent, and I found it kind of strange because I always know where I want to go. But the other part where I told you was an architect who said, well, people come to me, they know. I said, but I know what I want, so this is what I want. You can't do it, no business. We don't walk. So what I'm trying to point out to you is that we have to be careful too in how we approach things with people, because not everyone is the same, you know.
Definitely not.
I remember walking into a store
Definitely not.
And the salesperson trying to convince me that this was a better shirt to buy, and I didn't want that shirt. You know, those things happen. You know.
Those happen, and then again, it's the duty of the salesperson to encourage the buyer, the client. So therefore, they're gonna try, you know, to explain to you this, of course, because the thing is marketing, they want to sell. So they encourage, and it's about, as I work in sales, so I know how that go.
I walked into a store one time in Fifth Avenue, New York, and the guy was a horrible salesperson. He didn't recognize that the shirt I was wearing is one of the shirts that they sell in that store, you know? Mm-hmm. And he lost the sale because he figured I couldn't afford it.
Oh, I heard those stories, yep.
You know, I said, wow. And went into other stores and they treated me different, and I purchased what I had to purchase there. So, you know, you could be a salesperson, but you got to be very observant and check out what people, you know. you can't just judge a book by the cover like we're talking about.
That's right. And a matter of fact, this not only goes in sales, this goes for in general for life. We have to be careful with our approach in every instance. Sometimes we look at people and we misjudge them, you know, and that can be and we treat them then as you were treated in a different way. Sometimes they look at your skin color and they judge you. You can't afford that because that happened.
But that person was my skin color. That's the stupidity.
Yeah, it's your skin color.
Because they think you're like them.
Yes.
That you can't afford it, but they're walking in there.
So don't judge the book by its cover. Yeah. Do not, please. You know, but all of these are what I call experiences of life. They're either positive or they're negative, and we can turn things around.
But it's quite interesting, though.
Very interesting. Very. Life is interesting. We are here, but Mr. Gibbs, you and I, we know life is interesting, and that's why we are here, because we have the opportunity to share.
You're right.
All the interesting things of life of St. Martin in the past and now in the present, because it's really different than when back in those days. You understand? Now it's a different generation. We are in a different era, and therefore we thinking different. We see things differently. The mindset is of now.
All right. I tell you what, Miss Chemont, I have to go to a break. All right. In case you just joined us, Oral Gibbs Live, I'm speaking with Miss Maria Chemont. She's a retired registered nurse, a community activist, social, you name it, everything. She's a hard-working person for St. Martin community. All right. And you're either watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or you're listening to us on Hot 99.9 FM radio station. We'll be right back with you after this word.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Banco Matico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Banco Matico Plus, more of the best.
My guest on Oral Gibbs Live is Miss Maria Chemont. She's here with me, and we're speaking about a little bit of everything with her right here on Oral Gibbs Live on Facebook, YouTube, and Hot 99.9 FM radio. All right, so, so what's your week like besides this program that you're involved with and so forth?
What my week is like, it all depends. Most of my week I do spend visiting the shut-ins, the seniors, running some errands for some of them, and just at times keeping their company. And for me, that's a pleasure.
Do you go to the White and Yellow Cross?
I don't go to the White and Yellow Cross. No, I shouldn't say that. Let me pull back that. I do. Because I do have some friends that are there, and I have some family members that are there, so I visit there. And even some members of our organization are now there in the home, so I do visit them. That basically is on a Saturday or a Sunday I do that. And the other shut-ins, I do visit them during the week as much as I can, because they are sitting there at home, and I go and I sit for an hour or two and we talk, because I love to talk, because you allow them to go back in time, go back in history,
to reminisce.
And they're reminiscing, and they are looking just to have a conversation, just to have somebody to be there to talk to and laugh. So it is very important, I find, that we do visit our seniors. They just love to see my face when I reach and hear what I have to say, and discuss what the latest in the newspaper. And believe you, a lot of them, they love the politics also. So we will talk about that. But it's great. It's great. But I don't really do without visiting my seniors for the week, because I know they're looking forward actually to seeing me come in. However, I also have to have time for me.
Right.
And I do that. So I will go to Grand Cars and I sit by the Lolos, I walk the road and enjoy some Creole food. I love to do that, or I just drive to the beach. I go swimming, I sit down under a tree. Sometimes I don't even go in the water. It all depends on how the water's looking. And if it's not looking right, well, you know, I sit under the tree, I meditate, I get my can, I go home. And home, you know, the phone, check who I'll call, my children, I call my children and speak to them and so forth. So I do have a me time, because you cannot always be giving and you are not receiving. And if you don't have who to give you, you have to find to give yourself. So I make sure I take care of me. As I'm not getting younger, I too am advancing, so I need Maria's time.
I like that one. You put it,
Through all my business, I need some Maria's time.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's just, you know, it's so good. I wish we had a lot more like you, people like you. You know, I really wish that. The Samar would be a better place.
It's again about caring and loving first God, yourself, and then the community around you. We have to line it up, put it in the right order. As they say, line up your ducks. God, yourself, community.
But you know,
family and community.
But you know what I noticed, so Ms. Chemont, is that it runs in family too. Because I've had a few people on the program and they're family of yours.
Yes.
And I can see the similarity.
Definitely. Some things are in your DNA and you can't run away from it. I come from a family of people that cared and have raised other people's children back in the day, weren't days, and that's my grandmother. She brought children from Cuba that they were not hers.
From Cuba?
From Cuba, yes, because
Wow.
my mother was born there.
Oh, okay.
And when she traveled from Cuba to the Dominican Republic, and she came with children that was adopted children of hers and raised them, and they got married and left, went to Curacao and all of that. So I come from that generation. And on St. Martin, she had other people's children that she raised. And we would say it hard-working people, because Granny used to work in the ground and planting and having her food. And we ate a lot of ground food. In those days, we didn't have this amount of rice that was ground food. And callaloo and kalu soup and a pigtail and kalu and rice and in those days and cornmeal with peas stored in it and those kind of things. It was not so that we had frozen stuff. We had live chicken, and you know, Granny would get up one day, she wanted to cook chicken, and she would say, Cinda, John, catch that chicken there for me. And the chickens had names.
I couldn't do that.
Get the chicken and put on this pot of boiling water and wring this chicken, pour chicken fluttering on the ground, and we watching. Up with the chicken in the pot. Next thing, you're picking feathers.
But I want to go back to your grandmother there, because all the time I've been interviewing, you never told me about that. Your grandmother came from Cuba.
My grandmother was an Anguillan. She was a Rogers Richardson from Anguilla. My grandfather was a Lake, and Proctor, you name it, Smith, all of them mixed up together. Okay. But they traveled from Anguilla and they went to Cuba.
Okay.
And my grandmother was a domestic worker, of course. My grandfather worked in a cane field. And they got married in Cuba. I still have the original marriage certificate, you know, with the kind of Spanish, how they type them and all the mistakes in the world. But, you know, I have the original. And after a couple of years, after making their children there, they traveled to the Dominican Republic. And one of my aunts were born in the Dominican Republic. And then when he died, because he was murdered in the Dominican Republic, they came to St. Martin. My grandmother came to St. Martin with her children and adopted children, everybody. How they get here, I never really asked. I guess on a boat. Yeah. But they were here, so my mother grew up here with her siblings.
You know, it's we have a lot of people in Cuba from St. Martin, that never came back.
And the Dominican Republic.
But they came back, though. From the Dominican Republic, a lot come back. I think I told you about this one time I was in the Dominican Republic, went to this town, met these guys speaking English just like me. And when I started to speak with them, their parents are from St. Martin.
Yes. I met a couple of them from the French side, and I looked at this man. He has a beautiful taxi, and he was related to the Martins and St. James. But I was looking at him because I used to care for one of that family members, so you know the face.
Yeah.
So when I saw him, I was like, but you look like somebody from St. Martin. And then he said to me, I am actually from St. Martin, but I came here as a child in the Dominican Republic in La Romana.
Wow.
And then he told me he has like 4 children. One of his children is a doctor, the whole story he gave me. So I was like, wow.
Amazing, huh?
Amazing. And look at this man, he's those Martins from St. James.
Wow.
And that's his last name.
It's just, when you think about it, today we left back at the turn of the last century, all these places, and now they're coming back home. And their offsprings are coming.
Their offsprings, yes. So when we see people and we look at them and how would that person look like? Resembles such and such a person. Who knows? Who knows? They could be related. So I am enjoying life because I love to travel. I was looking at that big cruise ship and
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I looked at it. I went on the beach and I looked at the boat. I said, Maria, you're going to be on that. You got to take a cruise on that one.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is beautiful. And again, we have to really think positive of what we want to, because, hey, advancing, you start to look at life and start to count the numbers. You're like, hey, where would I be 10 years from today?
You gotta do it now.
So we got to do it now. I believe in that. I fully believe in people enjoying life, because like dealing with the seniors, I look at how some of them decrease in mobility.
Yeah, and something happens fast.
And it happening very fast. And when I started to think back, I said, but 40 years before then, this person was 40. Now they're 80, and look here, can't move. That is it.
Yeah.
You have to move them. Or even less, younger, way younger, because we have people in their 50s and 60s that have amputations because of the diabetes and stuff like that. And you start to say, well, 20 years ago, this person was so 30 years. I start to think in my mind, how fragile life is. We need to really love life. We need to respect life. Just how we need to respect the giver and the sustainer of life. And when we do that, we also gives an extension to our life. When we honor and respect the giver of life, which is God. Once we have him in our life and we believe in faith that he is who he say he is, he's God Almighty, and he is our sustainer, he's our keeper, he is our rock, he's our savior, he's everything that we need. His grace is sufficient. And because of that grace of God and that mercy, I am able to help and care and guide others into living life to its fullest.
In case you've just joined us, I'm Oral Gibbs. This is Oral Gibbs Law. My guest is Miss Maria Chemont. She's a retired registered nurse. We're here speaking with her on Facebook, YouTube, and Hot 99.9 FM radio. I gotta ask you this: what's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish. I actually love pea soup.
Pea soup.
I love pea soup.
With pigtail?
With pigtail. But because of the salt contents now, I don't use that salt pigtail anymore. But I have learned that there's something, I use the smoked turkey neck because it flavors the pea soup just as good.
Really?
Yes, smoked turkey neck. So I had to change my diet. And I try not to eat a huge bowl that I used to eat before, as I need to watch that. And pea soup is not pea soup if you don't have any dumplings in it. So at least when a customer eat like 6 dumplings, I don't eat that anymore. I eat 2 because I love my dumplings. Depending on how big they are, but I love pea soup, and I know I cook some good pea soup.
Wow!
I love that.
You brought back so many memories. You know?
I just
Everybody
love
does
that.
it different. Everybody cooks it a little different sometimes. too.
Yes,
Different
yes.
islands cook it different, you know. But it's really a good dish.
I cook my good pea soup because she got in everything, that pumpkin, my pumpkin, and to thicken my soup, I mash my pumpkin. I mash 1 or 2 tanyas because you don't, pea soup ain't supposed to be watery. It's supposed to have a good body.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, you mash up the pumpkin to give it a nice color and flavor, and you mash a little tanya to help to thicken the body. And and you got in your dumpling, you put a little bit of black pepper, some cinnamon powder in it, a pinch of sugar, you know, and a piece of butter to keep it, you know, not hard like a rock, but to give it a little bounce in it, soft a little bit. And sometimes I put a little coconut milk in the flour.
Yeah.
And I make my nice dumpling.
Coconut milk makes food taste really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love my soup. And when I cook my soup, it's rich.
Wow.
It's a rich soup.
You know, I was when I was growing up, I used to love hamburgers, and almost every day I go to Risdon and buy hamburgers on Front Street. And the other day I saw, I think it was Will Johnson or Matthias Vogels posted a picture of Risdon's on the Pondfield, where the Today newspaper
Used to have like a drive-in like.
Exactly. And it brought back memories because you could pull up in the car, order your food, and then they'll bring it over to the car, man. That was
Yes.
great in those days.
Look at how everything has
Gone.
It's gone actually.
Now, today, we need that more than ever, I think. That would be great if you had that today.
Exactly. But I have not eaten a hamburger that tastes like Risdon's hamburger. I can't get it. That Risdon hamburger was special. There was something about a hamburger. The taste, the smell, everything was different.
You know, remember Iran?
Of course, Father Irad.
Yeah, that when I go to Rizzo and I see him, I was happy because I always felt that he made the best hamburger there.
He and Addy Richardson, rest and blessed,
Yeah.
both of them are deceased now. But those guys at Risdon, they really did a fabulous job. I mean, that hamburger, this was great. The greatest hamburger and the greatest milkshake is what you got at Risdon.
It's incredible because sometimes I used to go in and he said, okay, my father will come later and pay for it because I didn't have the money, you know. And my father would shop right there and pay for the hamburger that I had. Those were beautiful days.
Those were good days. Guy also had a snack bar.
Across the street.
Across the street.
That was also nice.
That was also nice. The milkshake there was good too. In those days, the milkshake was like 75 cents and a guilder.
You remember?
And we had a floating sundae.
Oh, that was incredible. Wow.
The floating sundae
I used
was
to love
great.
that. With pineapple in the bottom and all
Yes.
that.
Oh my goodness. Those were the good days. And sometimes when you pass the street, you remember. I do remember where exactly these places were. You know, and it is amazing because Risdon also had a branch that went on the square.
Right.
And Marilyn was managing that branch there. And
Yeah,
we used to
ice
go
cream
there
and so
and
forth,
ice cream,
yeah.
floating Sunday. You know, it was really nice. Right at the end of the square there on the right-hand side.
You know, and I was speaking to another person who used to work in the drive-in theater. You remember the drive-in
The
theater?
drive-in theater over in Ziggers.
Exactly. And today now, I wish we had those things now.
Time has changed. No drive-in theater, nothing like that anymore.
It would have been cool, you know.
And that is where they used to. They had kept wrestling there.
Also, they had all those big stars.
Those big stars.
This world was held there, you know.
was also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, James Brown came to St. Martin.
Oh yes.
James Brown performed on Front Street,
Oh.
right
okay.
next to where residents snack bar used to be on the side. There had a big lot with a big grape tree. James Brown performed there.
Okay. I don't. Maybe when that happened, I probably was not here. Probably
Can you
was in
imagine that?
Curacao.
All those big artists came to St. Martin.
Yeah, we had some big artists, well-known artists here in St. Martin performing. Just the other day, I think it is, Lady Grace was mentioning a name also of a singer that was here. And I was like, wow, look at that years ago. You know, but we did well over the years. And I wish that, and I pray that St. Martin can come back, can return to that glory of this early 70s, 80s, you know, when we had all of this activity and money was flowing in this place.
But we have it now too. It's just different. It's just different.
But then, in those days, you would see it in Phillipsburg.
Yeah.
But we don't see it in Phillipsburg anymore. What we are seeing is down at the end of the runway. In the Maho area. A matter of fact, starting from, let's say, from Tropicana go down, is where the action is up until it ends in the Maho. Yeah. But hey, we have to learn to go with the time, and we have to be able to accept certain changes in St. Martin, because I do not really will sit here and say that things should be as it was before. We are living in a changing world, so things are going to change around us, but we also have to be prepared to go along to a certain extent, not join with everything, with the changes. Because, for instance, when my grandchildren come on vacation, I should be able to tell them, because they wasn't born here, they don't know nothing about the place. So when they come on vacation, it's my duty as a grandmother to go back in history and tell them and indicate, here, this used to be here, that used to be there, this is how it used to be when Oma was small.
How many grandchildren do you have?
5. My oldest grandson is 20. I have a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 14-year-old, 2, and a 13-year-old, and 1 that is a year and months old. So, and they are all interested. Some of them were here, Like my oldest grandson, he loved fish. He like me. He loved the red snapper.
Wow. Yeah.
As I love my red snapper. I forget to mention that. I love my red snapper and my fungi with it. And I can eat a good fish. As I don't eat fillet. I love a fish head and tail. Because when I finish with that fish, not even a poor dog, he want nothing left for him. I eat my fish well. I am telling you, I take my time and I pick my bones and I eat my fish bones white, head chew.
Remind me, when Yvette was alive, and I used to go to Yvette's restaurant. When I walk in, she said, "Oji, I know what you came for already. Fungi and fish."
Fungi and fish. I love my fungi and fish beside my peas too. Oh yes, I eat a good fish. I taken my time. That fish is going to really die a double death. I enjoys my fish and my fungi. All my provision with it.
Yeah, that's great food, man.
That is good food. That is good food. We just have to, Mr. Gibbs, love life and see the beauty in life. Life is beautiful. It is what we make of it. There are choices. You can choose to make your life beautiful or not to do so.
Yeah.
And I believe in beauty. I believe in living. I believe in loving and laughing. Live, love, and laugh. And that's my motto.
I think I'm going to have to laugh more. I'm a very serious guy, and people see me like, hey, you got this man.
Laugh some more.
I'm not angry, but it's just,
It's just you. Each one of us have our own personalities. And, hey, let's thank God for who we are.
Exactly.
We are alive.
Every morning I wake up and I look outside and I go outside, see the ocean, the pond. It's so beautiful.
It is.
And some people say, what beautiful? It's beautiful to me, no matter how many times I see it, because I just love nature and I look at things in life.
Exactly. And we're in the area that I live in. I open my kitchen windows. The first thing I do is give God thanks for opening my eyes to behold His creation. So eyes to see, ears to hear the singing of the birds, because there are a lot of birds in my area and they sing all day long. They're like a concert, and I enjoy that. The singing of the birds. I look at the flowers, I look at the trees, I feel the breeze, I inhale, and I said, Lord, I thank you for the fresh oxygen that going into my lungs this morning. For all of these things and the beauty of living and the beauty of God's creation, we need to be thankful. Definitely. I don't have time to fuss.
Well, we're out of time. We only have about 30 seconds, all yours in closing.
I will say, Mr. Gibbs, thank you for having me this morning. I have enjoyed the program and how what we have spoken about. And I just thank you for being here. And I thank the audience, the listening and viewing audiences that would enjoy this program. Thank you for having me.
And Ms. Chemont, I want to thank you so much every time. It's a pleasure having you in the program, all right? Thank you again.
You're welcome.
And that's it for now. I'll see you next time on Facebook, YouTube, and Hot 99.9 FM radio.